Hello. All writers like to catch readers' attention. It's very, very important. So how do you do that? Today we'll talk about how to do it through your first sentences. There'll be 10 ideas about your first sentences. This is a workshop by me, Elma Schemenauer. I've written about 70 plus books and edited a lot of others. It could say my life has been kind of all in publishing, at least my adult life. I have a website where you can read about a lot of that and about different things about reading and writing. I call myself Elma Mary from the Prairie because I was born on the Saskatchewan Prairie and grew up there. So you can find me with those words, or if they don't work, keep looking for me, Elma Schemenauer, or use the website address there. Okay. First way that you can catch reader attention with your first sentence is with appeal to senses. Here's an example. From creamy cornbread cake in Brazil to savory Tunisian chickpea soup, from fluffy Ukrainian pancakes to sweet coconut jam toasts in Singapore. These 21 international specialties offer a breakfast option for every palate. And you'll notice they used the sense of taste there and of touch also, because their textures are mentioned, and also of sight, because we can picture some of those, and there's also a picture of one, illustration of one. Here's another idea. Start with a problem. I'm sitting in the big bay window staring at the wild crows flying through the air. I'm a crow. I want to be out there with them. So this main character here has got a huge problem. He's not where he wants to be, and he realizes that his destiny is something else. And I think readers will identify with that. It's meant for young readers, this particular story. And I think probably a lot of readers would recognize that and identify with that, because a lot of us are sometimes not in places where we want to be, or where we feel our destiny lies. Suspense. Kate woke with a gasp. Was somebody breaking into their wagon? She shifted slightly in her bed, trying not to make a sound. There it was again, a clawing noise just behind her head. So we don't know what the noise is. It's probably not her cat or her dog or anything, because she's quite surprised about it. And we realize, without the author saying so, that this must be taking place quite a long time ago, when people traveled in covered wagons. Here's an example from a book of mine called Yester Canada. It's made up of 30 historical tales of mystery and adventure. These are Canadian history in a non-boring way. Most of the stories are about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, or maybe just ordinary things in a different way. Here's the one. It's about, it's called Dryland Steamboat, Saskatchewan's Dryland Steamboat. And this is how it starts. Tom Sukanen grew up among the cool green forests and fiords of Western Finland. The people of his tiny seaside settlement were hardworking, inventive, and independent. These were the character traits that shaped Tom's personality. So I hope by starting that way, I'm making readers think, well, I wonder what he did, what did his personality lead him to do? And I also took the opportunity to use a bit of alliteration in there: forests and fiords of Finland, and seaside settlement, and I think there's another one in there too. And it can be used well. It's you don't want to overdo it, but you need to use it with thought. Conflict. This was written a long time ago. It's a poem. I am Minerva, the village poetess, hooted at, jeered by the Yahoos of the street. And it's interesting to see that they had Yahoos even in the 1800s, but they're not the kind that we know. And this is the kind of conflict that maybe a lot of authors will relate to, because we sometimes think people don't understand us. We seem weird, nerdy, out of touch, whatever. And so I think that can grab some people. Any kind of conflict can grab people at the beginning of a piece. Here's a puzzling or mysterious statement. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So what does that mean? You could probably write a whole book exploring what that means, and probably books have been written to explain that. And you'll notice also that there's repetition here. We're told as writers not to repeat words, but we can do it if it's done in an effective way, if we do it consciously for effect. And so here we have the word is repeated and the word God is repeated. And that's been done to good effect by lots of other authors and speakers like Winston Churchill. We shall fight them on the beaches. We shall fight them on the here and there. And so it can be used effectively. Setting. The 5-bed outpost hospital at Kyuquot, which is on Vancouver Island, had no electricity, but it boasted the only bathtub for miles around. We don't know. We know an awful lot just from that one sentence. This is not a big community. It has a hospital, but there's only 5 beds in it. There's no electricity, but it does have a big advantage. It has the only bathtub for miles around. And this is written during the gold rush era when there was a lot of population and maybe not enough facilities to adequately serve them. Emotions. This is the first bit of my novel, Consider the Sunflowers. This novel was based on my Mennonite relative stories, although I took them and ran with them. I changed them quite a lot. And it's also based on my own growing up years. It takes place in Saskatchewan in the 1940s on a farm. So here's how it starts. Tina felt like liverwurst in a sandwich, trapped in the stalled truck between her dad and the man he wanted her to marry, rich, boring Roland Fast. Okay, so she feels like liverwurst in a sandwich. How does that feel? I guess it feels trapped and maybe kind of, well, just poor in a general way. And there's a big reason for this, as she's trapped between her dad and the man he wanted her to marry, whom she does not want to marry. Dialogue. It can be tricky to start with dialogue because we don't know who the characters are. We don't know where they are. So it can be just sort of coming out of nowhere. But I think this one works pretty well. You're losing your hearing, Dennis, the ear specialist said. That's why you're having those dizzy spells. Because it's an ear specialist, we can probably picture that it's in a doctor's office. And so, and then we picture the patient is probably Dennis. So in this case, it works. Number 10, it could be a startling incident you could start with. Shouting in Spanish, pitcher Rico Velasquez stormed from the bullpen into the clubhouse lounge, where 3 of his teammates sat playing cards and watching the July holiday afternoon baseball game on a television monitor. Spotting an open box of new baseballs waiting to be autographed, Rico picked up one of them and threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball into the middle of the television set. Ah! Okay, so we know quite a lot about this character from that first sentence there, and it sets us up for the conflict that's going to be in the story. And we know a lot about the setting too, in the clubhouse lounge and the television monitor and so forth. As you'll probably have noticed, a lot of authors use a combination of things that I've mentioned. This appeals to the senses as well as being a startling incident. It gives us a conflict right at the beginning. So usually the different methods that I've mentioned here are used in combination. Okay, now it's your turn. Write a brief starter. It can be just one sentence or can be a few sentences, maybe a paragraph, and try to use one or more of the following. 1, appeal to senses. 2, problem. 3, suspense. 4, character portrayal. 5, conflict. 6, puzzling or mysterious statement. 7, setting. 8, emotions. 9, dialogue. And 10, startling incident. Okay, that's it. Here I am again, Elma Mary from the Prairie, and there's my website if you care to have a look there and see more about reading and writing, that kind of thing. I also have a blog. It's called Elma's Almanac, and you should be able to find it on the internet with those words. And there is also the address of it is given there. Okay, thank you very much.